Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody around the world. Welcome back to the One Piece video featuring your boy, Marshall D. Teach. You're ready for a very, very spicy deck profile featuring OP11 here on the channel, let alone a leader in which it seems to be very much hated by the community. And I think that goes to say this deck is pretty good, but when you sit across from somebody at your local scene or sim or whatever event you're playing, you see Blackbeard, you kind of just, it makes you feel a certain type of way. I think a lot of people just really hate this leader just as much as they might have hate a Nell. But with that being said, Blackbeard is no slouch. This is a very, very strong deck in the current metagame. The only downside to it is the fact that Bello Betty exists, and then you have decks like Zoro are still kind of running around. But other than these two aggro decks, I think he has a pretty good time here. The other opposition would be Yamato, for those people that are still playing her right now, which is kind of, far in between. But outside of that, he has some pretty good matchups in today's metagame, and that includes into all Luffy variations. Now, don't get me wrong, they're still pretty challenging, but you are one of the few decks that's in the meta right now that can handle purple, blue Luffy, and the other Luffy variations, and actually do fine. A lot of other decks kind of struggle into these matchups with Blackbeard. He can hold it down, man. He can hold it down. And that's because his leader ability, which if you guys are not familiar with this leader, don't care about Blackbeard, never played One Piece yet, or interested in playing this leader, he is the anti-fun deck in the current game. You discard one card from your hand, and all on plays from your opponent don't work. That's it. They're turned off. Which is really, really strong. Especially when you are looking at a deck like Blue-Purple Luffy. Everything that this man plays is going to have an on play in the late game. Your Sanjis, your Big Moms. It's very hard for the deck to get a foot in the late game when you just turn off all of their abilities. Luffy is very, very strong for allowing him to have Gum Gum Giants and Gear Second, along with being able to play down the 9-Mom to heal life. Blackbeard just says no. He says no to a lot of decks, which is really, really good. Now, today we will be playing with two different variations of Blackbeard today. We're going to play around with this list, and then we are going to play around with another list I'm getting ready to show you in a minute. And I'll let you guys know when we swap the decks during our games today. But without further ado, let's dive into this list, because this will be a longer video than usual probably. So give or take, maybe, normally they're like an hour, right? So this will probably be hour 20, hour 30, I don't know, somewhere around there. Anyway, we are running with 8 2K counters with 4 Stronger and then 4 Caribou. This isn't necessarily a Blackbeard pirate, and it's not searchable here in this list. You often, goes to the trash or the bottom of the deck with Full Stead or with This Is My Age. But it's a cheap blocker and it's a 2K counter, so this is typically why most Blackbeard players are going to be utilizing this into the deck list as of late. Of course, you still have access to, I forgot what the guy is called, the one with the long tongue. Where are we at? Vasco Shot. You still have access to this, and some decks still do run this card, but we don't typically run it out of 4 of. Sometimes you'll splash in 1 or 2 copies, and that's pretty much it. This is just cheap, and it's efficient. It's a 2K, it's a 1-cost blocker, in which your opponent has to spend resources to either remove or just attack into it. It's pretty good. Outside of this new addition to the deck, you don't typically have anything else outside of the stuff you got from the structure decks, which are going to be the 7-drop Marshal D. Teach and the 6-drop Kuzan. And then, of course, from OP10, you have access to the 5-cost Kuzan. This deck has a lot of, what's the word, value for cards going to the trash, which a lot of decks don't have in today's format, in which things like Von Augur here or Doc Q, when these cards are KO'd, you get to draw 1 card. So you're always replacing a card that's on the board that goes to the trash in almost every scenario, right? Which is really good here for this deck. Your opponent typically doesn't want to attack into like a Doc Q when it's rested, because then you draw cards. But if they leave this card on board, you get value. So it's kind of just a double-edged sword for a lot of decks to deal with sometimes. And then others, it always just helps you out regardless of what choice they decide to go into. Because if they attack into this character, Of course, you get to draw a card, and you also don't lose a life. So, now, the inner workings of this deck have been changed numerous times. There's going to be a lot of different Blackbeard lists that use different cards here, and which you don't see in this particular list. For example, like Laboon, a lot of decks still run this card. This is still a very solid card in Blackbeard. The reason why I don't particularly use it in any of my lists is the fact that it doesn't replace itself. So again, like I mentioned with Doc Q, with Von Augur, they replace themselves when they get KO'd. This does not, and typically when you play this on board and you activate its ability, you rest it, your opponent's going to clear this one way or the other, whether it's going to be a bottom deck or whether it's going to be a KO or attack into it. And when that happens, you don't get any replacement. You can't get this back from the trash. You can't search it. So that's the downside. You kind of got to open up with it in your hand or mulligan for it or draw into it off like, just your drawing for the turn. It still is very, very strong, but that's why I'm not running it. I want to be as consistent as possible with the list here and use as many cards as I can when it comes to searching or finding them in the deck. Now, again, I'm going to show you two different lists, so bear with me. We are also going to be utilizing Devon here from OP09. She just a one of. I don't particularly like this card all too much. It's very useful when your opponent doesn't expect it, and you can get a cheeky double attack, banish, or block off. Outside of that, I kind of just pitch it for my leader ability a lot of the times, but sometimes it does stick on board, and it is able to do a thing. It's kind of rare, I feel, but it's not as useful as I would like it to be, even though it has the ability to get one of the other effects each and every turn. The other card is going to be Burgess. I feel like Burgess has a lot more value just because he builds up over time. And the loop here is all of these characters can be brought back with things like Kuzan and Marshal Teach here. But as the game progresses, this doesn't get stronger, right? This doesn't get stronger. Your Burgess will always be a terrifying threat on the board, and it cannot be KO'd by effects. So being able to just recur this with things like Kuzan, when you're playing into any deck that has removal, Kuzan can be very, very good because they cannot remove this card by an effect. So you cannot Jet Pistol this, you cannot Red Rocket, you cannot Gravity Blade. It cannot go away. Once this is on the board, it's stuck on the board, which is really, really good. Sorry about that. Now, Kuzan has another use here. You can play it down early into a control matchup or into a deck that utilizes removal. You can swing with it and then you can trash it. Once you do that, you're able to draw a card. And then you can play something back from the trash that's a 5 cost or less. That's a Blackbeard pirate other than Kuzan. So you can go ahead and recur Burgess, which typically by this point in the game or by whatever point the game that might be, will be stronger than 5,000 power. And then your opponent has to deal with this as well. This card is very, very strong for this deck, obviously, and it does make Teach a lot better than he was when he first came out in OP09. So, we have also gained access to a 6-drop Kuzan. I feel like he's a little bit slow here in this deck, and there are times where I play 1 or 2 copies at most. I never go 3 or 4 with him. I feel like, again, he's too slow for what he does. He's just a blocker that can do the exact same thing as this Kuzan, except for he can be removed by effects or KO'd. But again, he's just a blocker. He's not nothing that's too special. He does allow you to bring back another character from the trash. Same thing as this Kuzan, except for this one puts it back on board rested. So if you're not prepared to counter out for it, or you don't have any blockers on board, if you happen to get a Von Augur from trash, and you don't have any way to, defend it, you're not going to get a lot of value here other than when your opponent kills it, you get to draw an extra card. And that's pretty much it. The removal package for this deck is very, very strong still in the form of Teach. If you see the nuts and you get yourself a Doc Q early game and a Von Augur going into turn 7 dawn, you have the opportunity to drop Marshal Teach here. With Augur on the board, you -3, this is killing anything that's 6-drop or lower, which is really, really good. if for whatever means you're able to stick down 2 of these characters, 2 Von Augers, you're killing everything in the game with Teach. That's 9 cost and under. So this allows you to deal with the blue-purple Luffy variation, so the Big Moms, the Sanjis, the Katakuris, the Mihawks. Having 2 Augers on the field plus Teach, yes, that's the dream, and it's probably not going to happen every single game consistently, but it definitely does, more so than you think. Am I that lucky? Not really. But this is still a threat, because as soon as this card hits the board and activates its ability, once it goes to the trash, you can go ahead and grab any black cards from your trash to your hand. That also includes Laboon. And this is the only way you can recur this card from the trash with Teach. But at the same time, again, it's not searchable. But this also allows you to pick up things like your 10 cost Teach. Or you can go ahead and pick up Augur. Or you can even pick up yourself from the trash. Once this goes to the trash, you can grab this back out and then play it back down next turn, which is pretty good. Of course, you got to spend 7 Dawn again, but your opponent still has to deal with it. The other events that we are going to be utilizing today are going to be Tempest Kick. This is my age. This, of course, is a staple for every variant of Teach. We really shouldn't have to talk about this. You look at the top 3, take a card from Blackbeard Pirates, everything else goes in the trash. This fuels up your Burgess. This puts cards in your trash for your Kuzan for later. And then we are going to be utilizing Black Hole. And then, of course, the 4 of Stage. This, I only typically run 1 to 2 of these, and that's for either variation. Both of them have their uses. This is pretty good if you have a Von Augur on field and you're able to play this down to get rid of Smoker, Cavendish, things of that nature. Eustace Kid, or like Kikin Nojo, because it negates effects. But outside of that, just 1 of. That's pretty much it. You got yourself Tempest Kick to utilize Liberation a little bit more. But this is going to be the list that we're going to be playing with the most today, and then we're going to dive into a second variation of Blackbeard, which I would like to think this would be the final variation after playtesting into Luffy. This is probably what I'm going to end on when it comes to teaching the current metagame. Now, I may change this here and there, arguably, but this list is slightly different than the previous one. I go down this Kuzan to 1 instead of 2. We go down Tempest Kick to 2. And then I make sure I have room for Finger Pistol instead of running things like Laboon. Finger Pistol, the reason why this is so important here, both of these cards work respectively in certain situations, right? Pick your poison. With Finger Pistol, though, this right here helps you out in the Luffy matchups. All Luffy matchups are all purple decks that utilize the 8-cost Katakuri. So, why is that so good? Is the fact that this, if you have an Augur on field, you just play Finger Gun and this goes bye-bye. And that's it. Like, it's just that simple. And it's not really hard to set up. You just need 1 Augur and then have this in hand, pop it, go about your day. Or you have other means of Augur, Tempest Kick, into a Teach. Go about your day. These cards here, you want to make sure if you are running either Laboon or Finger Gun, you must have this before Luffy has access to the 8-cost Katakuri. Otherwise, if you don't have removal for this guy, it makes the game tremendously hard. So I wanted to make sure I had enough removal in the deck to deal with these late game pieces without hurting myself before I got there. The other card here that's going to be a new edition is going to be Liberation. Just 1. And this is specifically for aggro matchups. So Zoro, Bello Betty, and of course the green-purple Luffy. And why is this so valuable? Well, if you guys realize that this guy loves to play out Sanji P, okay? Which does what? A whole bunch of goodness, right? You get the Dawn ramps, you get to draw the cards, it does a lot of good stuff. Of course, on turn 5, when they're going into turn 5, you're going to activate your leader skill, therefore they can't get the extra draw. But it doesn't stop this from being on board, right? And it also doesn't stop Zoro from being on the board. Even if they activate the stage, which they typically will, going merry, right? Which will make Sanji P a +7, right? With Liberation, that doesn't matter, because this will kill anything on board with the original cost of 6 or less, or the original cost of 4 or less. So if you just spend 6 Dawn, you're killing Sanji Pudding, and you're killing Zoro, doesn't matter. You get to wipe out both of the characters on board, which helps you out tremendously in that matchup. But overall, we're going to dive into a bunch of games today. I'll see you all in a split second. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into a bunch of games today. Come at you guys with Blackbeard playing into Purple Katakuri in OP11. Now, I will probably lose my voice as we do this because I'm sure I'm going to talk a lot. We're going to be doing this for a while. I wanted to do a special on Blackbeard special. I wanted to do a video on Blackbeard due to the fact that we haven't played this leader on, I guess, yeah, on video here on channel since he came out, I want to say. I played him at locals and here and there when I'm not recording. Sometimes I dabble in Blackbeard, but this is just one of those leaders that, if you've been following my channel for a very, very long time, I don't really like to play like meta-defined leaders. I don't know what it is. It's just, if that leader is all over the place, you know, whether it's at local events, regionals, you know, wherever, I don't want to play it, man. I don't like the game in which it's just, you must play this to win. That's just not fun for me. So, on the channel, you guys typically get a lot of, if it's meta with spice. If it's off meta, it's off meta with spice here on the channel. When it comes to Blackbeard, there's not too many different ways that you can go about building the deck list. There's a few, but it's more so you don't see Blackbeard as much as you did before, and I think it's due to the fact that he's very, very good, but I think the skill ceiling, just like Rob Lucci, is a lot higher than it was before. And you have to know the matchups, you have to know your opponent's deck, you have to know your deck. And I think a lot of people don't want to take the time and the money or investment or whatever it may be to learn something that is quite challenging when they can play something very simple and straightforward, like Bello Betty, for example, and do well, if that makes sense. Now, in this regard, I wanted to feature Blackbeard as well because we haven't done this leader in a very long time here. And there have been people that have asked about it, and I kind of look over it because a lot of people don't like not being able to play their cards. Like I mentioned, when we go to locals, or you're sitting here playing on Sim, and you're like, no on plays, it makes people feel a certain type of way, right? Just like when you attack into a Nell on their last life and they hit you with that 0 cost, then they heal twice, and then the next life is a Veggie. Like what do you do? You know what I mean? But in any case, we're going to play a bunch of games today here with Blackbeard, and we're going to do the best that we can. I am not perfect when it comes to this leader. I'll be 100 with you. There are some times where I totally forget to use my leader ability, and that's more so because we're on Sim. You know, when it's locals, it's so much easier. But here, I forget it. So it is what it is. You know, we're only human, right? In any case, Katakuri, he's definitely going to have a problem in this game, especially because he needs to keep Sparrow on board to use his abilities. And we specialize in removal, so you guys should already know how this goes. Katakuri is one of those decks where he's not in a super good spot, but he's not necessarily at the bottom of the barrel. And he is getting support here very, very soon in the new PRB. He's getting the 7-drop pudding. He's getting some more stuff in OP12. So he will be back in the metagame. Hopefully a lot higher than he is now, and people will probably represent the deck once he gets more support. Currently, you need certain cards on board with this deck in order to do things. And Sparrow, sorry buddy, being one of them. Once that goes to the trash, or if you don't draw into it, the deck kind of just falls apart. And I hate to be like that because I'm a Big Mom Pirate stan, so it is what it is. Hopefully get this oven out of here too. I really didn't want to spend the last Dawn here. I probably should have just to go 9, but I want to get down my blocker here. Unfortunate. Because I want to be able to keep up Von Augur at least for one more turn if possible. We got 6. Doesn't really matter here what we trash. It's either going to be the Karina, or not Karina, I keep messing up her name, Devon or Doc, considering we have Doc already on the board. We go up to 10 Dawn next turn? That's math, right? Oh, sorry. 9 Dawn next turn. Okay. Beppo. Speaking of which, this, I was going through some of my stuff earlier today, like just cards, you know? I came across this Beppo, and I don't like Law in general. I don't like any of his crew. I don't like none of them. Like I don't like him as a character. Nothing. So you kind of just pass over it. But when you read that card and what it allows you to do for this deck, it's kind of nutty. Beppo, when a Dawn is put back to the Dawn deck, you gain an extra, gain 1,000 power for the turn. So Katakuri, if you attach 1 Dawn to him, use his ability, he becomes a 7k if Beppo is on the board, which is really, really good. Because you don't have to rest Beppo, it's just once per turn when this happens, which is pretty strong. So, something I might try in an upcoming Katakuri deck list here. I've only seen it a handful of times, so I think people are still trying to like explore Katakuri, you know what I mean, for some of the options. Because a lot of decks don't use things like the Oven here, or Beppo, or Black Maria. They're kind of just cookie cutter, if you will. So, it's cool to see people experiment with things, and it makes you think a little bit. In any case, what we got here, boys? Okay. That's all 2. So, sorry, that's 3 in trash. I guess we just do this here. We can get it back, so it's fine. Get your boy, because he's already an 8k. And then we can run Teach into Oven again and get cards out of hand, hopefully. We can toss this. Alright, that's not the best. It is what it is. I was looking for another dock, but it's okay. This feels a little bad, and I probably should have removed the Beppo instead, but it's okay. Go 5 lead. He has to start taking hits eventually. I've been trying to focus more on board here and just establishing bodies, because I think in the late game, we can survive. He's only at 8 Dawns. He goes at 10 next turn, so he does have the option to play Big Mom down if he has it in hand. She does have Rush. Katakuri. Cool. He's probably going to clear the Augur this time. We do have counter for it, depending on how much he wants to go. But we need to keep him on board here to remove the Katakuri if possible, because we have the Teach in hand. So we can drop the 7-cost Teach, the stronger, rest the Augur, and pop the Katakuri. Oof. He's going to go 7k with Katakuri as well here. Nah, we'll keep this on board. We should be able to get out of this. He'll minus a Dawn. Yep. So good, man, having that Beppo on the field. It's pretty strong. No, we can counter here too, but it's fine. Because we go to 9, so I guess I just math wrong. I think we should have protected that. That's my fault. We'll go 5 into this. Surprised he didn't block, actually. Well, I guess it makes sense not to block, right? Because we just run Burgess into Katakuri, so. Should do a damage. We'll play down Teach, and then we'll freeze this up. But yeah, I definitely should have guarded the Augur, because this turn we could have played down the 7-cost Teach, and then popped the 8-cost Katakuri off the board. And then he plays down, what, Big Mom? It runs into, I don't know, Burgess maybe? Give or take. I'm so used to just doing this ability at the end of the turn. Even though I know he's just going to play Big Mom down. So, but just in case he plays like Searchers or he doesn't have it in hand here. So I would imagine if he did have it, he'd play it earlier when he was at 10 Dawn before. Sorry if you can hear the dog in the background. I apologize. 14, 15k here. I mean, yeah, I guess. Now what? Okay. Didn't activate Pudding's ability. Interesting. Guess we played out another Teach. We lock up the Katakuri on board. Yep. We'll search. Don't really need that, that's for sure. Tempest Kick might be pretty valuable, but we also need the counter in hand too. Let's see what he wants to do first. So he can't use his leader skill here, which is nice. At least I believe he can't use his leader skill unless the sim's bugged. Shouldn't be able to. Yeah, okay. There's the 2K. Put you on 1. Then we'll do it again. We can get back Burgess from trash later if need be with the Kuzan. And I think it will have a lot more value there than the Devon. Yeah, she'll serve as a blocker for me, but that's going to be a big boy when he comes back. We do have the 1K in hand, or sorry, the 2K in hand, if he wants to go heavy or play down the big bomb to run into Teach. So I think we're fine on that regard. Never mind, 15 to face. Sure. 14, 15. What's the point of removing the Dawn there? I guess he gets the peak. But he... Oh, okay. I don't know, boys. We definitely don't need anything here. Augur can't handle Katakuri right now. We can't get 10 cost Teach with the 1-drop event either, so we can't play him on board. That minuses by 3. Hold on, wait. Math. I think we got this. So, hear me out. Watch. We have this. We got this. Darn. We don't have... Oh, we do have. We have Doctor. Okay, so we're chilling. And then pop. Pretty good. Let's go 6 lead. That was a lot of pieces, though. But we got there. What you want to do here? So I think no matter what, he loses the game here. Hey, man. Hey, yo, look. Sometimes you just draw the out, alright? That's it. I mean, we search enough in the deck, so... Okay. It's not possible here, right? It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I guess it could be if he had all 2Ks. Uh-oh. No? Please? If he has it, then we just lose. Bro, what are you doing? Okay. Well played. It was close. I really don't know if it's worth recording this match, to be fair. I haven't seen a Doflamingo in a very, very long time. That's locals included. But, you know, he is one of my favorite characters, and I know a lot of people love this guy, so... It just seems, once Jinbei has been banned, Dofi kind of just fell off the face of the earth, man. You know what I mean? He's not around, he's not played. He's here and there. People still hanging on. Just not as good. Not as good anymore. I think I want to get down Lafitte here. Or do we just play Doc? Because if we play down the Lafitte, then he just kills it, doesn't he? If we search, we can get down the Searcher as well. So, without Dofi being able to attack into it. This will set us up for later plays if we're able to draw the Augur next turn. And we only have one shot at doing that. Which is probably not going to happen. But who knows? I definitely forgot to use leader skill here too, by the way. In case he played Boa down or something. That's my fault. I'm guessing Law, probably. Just to bounce that back. Okay, what is this? Double attack Gecko Moria. Interesting. I can't say that I hate it, but I think we should search first, to be honest, because we need to find Augur here. If we find Augur, we just pop this for free. Please. All these are so good. There he is, boys. We got there. Super lucky. Get rid of that, because that'll be a problem. That's for sure. Let's go 5 lead. We got 7 in hand here. Yeah, 7. Goes to 6 next turn. Do we care? I think we do, right? Because he just plays... He either plays Boa down to do the thing, and then he can use his leader ability. And we don't want that because he gets free bodies on board. I'm really worried about the... Dang, I forgot what it's called. Weevil? Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah, it's Weevil. Worried about that guy. Unfortunate, man. You forgot about our ability, didn't you? And I think this is why people just hate Teach in general. Twice, actually. Plays Boa and Perona when he can't use leader skill is crazy. Sure. Get another 10 cost. I don't know why he didn't try to go for Augur there to get cards out of hand. I mean, we really only had 1k counter, so I mean, it was a possibility, technically. In this situation, now that Augur's still on board, we're at 7 Dawn next turn. So, there's another Augur. We're going to go ahead and reduce the Boa, and we'll drop the 7 cost Teacher, pop that, and go 5 lead. And I think from this point onward, he's not going to be able to deal with a 7 cost Teach on board unless he has Red Rock, or he decides to attack into it heavily. So we get a Pudding. Love to see that. We need to get a 2k counter at the very least. Nice. So now he has to go 10k into it to get rid of it. I imagine he'd probably clear the Teach, but in that regard we can just get Teach back out of the trash. Did I forget leader skill? I did forget leader skill. I'm pretty sure I forgot. Yeah, I did. Man, go me. And watch, the one time we forget it, he takes over the game. Because that'd be crazy. Because at this point, it's potential that he just starts spitting bodies off the top of the deck, which is a problem. I think it's like, if he has more than 2 bodies, it can be very hard to remove them because he just keeps putting them on board. We stopped the Boa last time, but this time around, I don't know, man. There's one. There's no way there's no reason why he wouldn't do leader skill. Okay, never mind. I guess he really is going to clear Teach. Yes, Teach, I assume. No, he goes for Augur. Smart. Definitely smart, because we don't have the counter for that. I guess he knows that we got the 2k from the search, so it's just the potential that we had the extra 1k. We'll just do it again. That's fine. We'll pop that. And then I'll get cards out of hand here. Ooh, Devon could be pretty good here too. She could be pretty good. I think we might have to play her down, actually. I mean, we already have... Actually, we have a 1 cost blocker, so maybe we're fine. Let's go 6 here. Hopefully we get the 2Ks. She gives me a Crocodile, which is nice. 5 cards left in hand. We'll play down the Kuzan. Searching with Stage could be kind of dangerous. I guess we'd have to trash Devon. I'd rather keep the 10 cost Beards on, in hand. Get down 2 blockers. If he has Gravity Blade, we're kind of cooked, so it doesn't really matter here. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter here. Because next turn, he Gravity Blades, hypothetically, and then he runs, what, 8k into Teach? Would it be 8? Yeah, 8. Which we have the 2k in hand, which he should know about that. Come on, Gravity Blade me. Why not? I don't think he would. It's probably not the correct play, to be honest. But he can't do much else here, because nothing he can play down has an on play. So Jozu wouldn't help him out if he was able to pop back Perona to hand, and they can kick back Kuzan, so he can't do that. He can't attack into anything, so you have 2 blockers on board. Hard play is Crocodile. Okay. I think he's just spitting out bodies at this point. Okay, yeah. There's Law. And this is normally the way the games typically go, with decks that can go wide. Even though they don't have their on plays, it does make it difficult for Teach to keep up most of the time. when you don't have any blockers on board or counter in hand, because we are pitching cards away for leader skill. And I think at this point, we're still in danger of losing the game, unless we take control of the board here. Because realistically, we only have one body, right? We're not really swinging here with Kuzan. We do have the Stronger in hand, so we can play Stronger down to pop Law or Crocodile, which is not that bad. Or we can play 10 cost Beard to freeze one or the other. Let's go 5 first. I imagine he takes this hit. Cool. So he gets a card. No trigger, that's nice to know. Let's swing here as well. If he wants to clear that, that'd be awesome, because we can grab whatever we want from the trash. And at this point, it could particularly be Burgess. So, okay, putting in Perona. You love to see it. Hopefully he didn't have that putting in hand the whole time, and he got that off life. Because otherwise he had 2 puddings this game. I can't remember if he mulliganed or not. So if he didn't mulligan and he had the 2 puddings, or at least the pudding, it seems a little interesting. Well, this is pretty good. Because now we can go ahead and auger and pop something here. Yeah, we're floating over 3 Dawn, I get it. But still. If we remove the Law, he can't get it back to hand. Which is fine. We've got 3 Dawn left over for no reason. He already knows we have Stronger in hand. We might as well get rid of the Burgess, just in case he, again, runs into the Kuzan or has a way of dealing with the Kuzan here. Yep. We're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. I'm sorry, buddy. What's cool about it is he doesn't have a lot of cards in hand here, because we've also been just removing board and poking at life. So everything he plays down here, we typically just get rid of. So he doesn't have a way of protecting it on the field, which is kind of nice. Because we're at 10 Dawn and he can't play anything down. And at this point, I believe Doflamingo doesn't play a lot of top end. There are some decks that still utilize like Mihawk and then the 9 cost Sanji. But that's really about it, unless you guys are still running around with 10 cost Kaido, but I doubt it. And go 9k into what? You know I have the 2k, so that's interesting. We need to counter here, then guard out with Caribou. So he has 11k here. Come on, buddy. Do your worst. I'm not too sure. Okay, that's what happened. He leaves up his Dawn for his leader skill, I guess. Interesting. We'll guard out that anyway. I'm not sure what he thought was going to happen there, to be fair, because we had the blocker on board. We needed to keep the Augur and the Teach. I think the only thing that we would have let go to the trash there was the Kuzan to bring back a Burgess. So, and at this point, this game's pretty much over. It's wraps for Dofi. Go ahead, take the hit. Nope. Okay. So he did have Jozu from earlier, but he couldn't utilize that, which is nice. I'm just gonna keep poking here. Sorry if you guys can hear the dog downstairs. I apologize. I'll try to see if I can tune that out when we go back on the editing here. I'll finish this up and then I'll go see what's going on, and we'll dive into another game. Go 8. I think we should have donned up a little more here just to make sure we got the attack off. And that's my bad. Because now I've just prolonged the game for one more turn. It didn't need to happen. That's my fault. We'll go ahead and teach ability here. I'll pass it over. I mean, he's got 6 cards now. That's good. But yeah, I should have donned up and just finished the game there. It's my fault. We didn't really need to play the 10 cost Beard. Cool. Well played. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Gonna dive into another game. Come at you guys with Marshal the Teach playing into Bello Betty in OP11. And I am terrified. This leader is very, very spooky, man. I do not like playing against this deck whatsoever. I don't necessarily hate it, but between her and Zoro, it's the worst. Worst case scenario, right? That's to be fair. But Bello Betty, on the other hand, being able to go wide and then go tall is just terrifying, especially for Blackbeard to deal with. We never have a hand by that point. We're always pitching cards because she's typically going for face anyway, so it's just like, what do you do? We'll take the Kuzan here. We do have the dock on board, which is nice. If we can stick Augur next turn, this will be great. Might as well do leader skill here. We'll pass it over. I don't want to give her any trigger whatsoever. If I can, if I can help it. But we need to be able to keep Doctor on board here. Yep, okay, not gonna happen. Unfortunate. We do get a teach though, which is nice. The Ivankov is going to bypass our on plays due to the fact that he's activate main, so that does suck. We don't have a way to remove this right now. Unless... Nah, that's probably a big gamble. Because if we stage and then we find a doctor, we could perhaps do a stronger, then play the doctor down to get rid of that. Actually, no, we can't. That's not math. Never mind. Ignore me. I'm glad we didn't try for that, because that'd been crazy. But at least Augur should stick on the field here. And the next turn, we can remove it. No on plays for you. In a typical Bello Betty, they kind of just go wide on board. Doesn't matter about the on plays or not, really, because they have the other Ivankov. So I'm expecting a Karasu here, maybe. I mean, that means we have to remove that as soon as possible. Okay, Lindbergh. So Lindbergh's going to pop our Searcher. And speaking of which, we haven't even had an opportunity to search because we have to combat the board. And by this point, with 3 bodies down, I don't think Bello Betty is going to go for the Searcher. I think she's just going to go face here. And definitely with Lindbergh, you know what I mean? But still. That's a problem. Because Lindbergh pops the 1-cost blockers as well. Oh, that's my fault. I thought it was still her turn. My bad. Alright. I guess we just have to play Teach here. I mean, yeah, we'll do it this way. Because we play Teach, the Ivankov is more valuable here than the Lindbergh. I don't really mind if she decides to pop the 1-cost Searcher, I guess, at this point. It would have been nice to be able to keep it on board and get a search off, but I have to clear board. Sure. We'll do it again. I'm trying to avoid the Karasu as much as possible. Our trash is terrible. That's also terrible. I'll take this, I guess. That's all we really can do. We'll trash that for skill. Okay, so we'll avoid the Karasu here and the other 5-cost Ivankov, which is nice. I believe those are the only 2 that are really problematic. I guess Koala can be a problem too, but more so the other ones. We are at 8 Dawn though, so she should be able to get down a couple bodies here. And we're also preventing the searches. Although they're just 1 cost, and they can be boosted up to a 5k, they're still problematic, so I'm thankful she's not just throwing them on the board, even though they don't have the on-play ability. Go on, play the Karasu down. You know you want to. That is the 2nd blocker she's thrown away, which is good to know. And she's got 2 attackers this turn, which she should be able to clear the Von Augur, at the very least. There's Karasu. No on plays for you. We've got 4 Dawn open. Yep. I guess we have to let this go, don't we? Because that's 6, 7, 8, 9. She's got 2 9k swings left, realistically. Darn. If that was a 2k, the movement, okay. Or is that not math? Yeah. Yeah. If we had another 2k, they would have been fine. We have to give it here. Come on, Bella, what are you doing? Let's go. Just math. That's all you gotta do. There you go, 10k. You got it. We'll force it, though. That might be a little stupid, and I probably shouldn't have done that. But we can get rid of the Kuzan here, too. Now we have no cards in hand, but we at least get to keep this on board. Ooh, Liberation. That's helpful. Can remove the Karasu. And then now we're in trouble. Or now she's in trouble, because we can remove 2 other bodies here with 2 cards in hand. So we'll go 9 here. What do we need? 4k counter? I think. No, she needs 5k here. Cool. Alright, boys, we're looking good. Outside the fact she has on plays again. And it's a weird matchup. I'm not entirely sure if this is how the Bella Betty is supposed to play into the new Blackbeard. You know, Blackbeard with the structure deck stuff. I'm not entirely sure if she's doing it about the right way. I think for us, she is. You know what I mean? Because she is starving us out of getting cards from off life, therefore we don't have a hand because we're protecting our board. And it's like, when we clear the board, she just replaces it again with like two or 3 bodies. So, it's very hard for us to keep up when she's starving us out of resources. I do think this is the correct way for her to play the game. And she's doing fantastic. She's got 4 bodies on board plus lead, that's 5. We have no hand, 1 card, and that's it. And we're getting cooked at this point. We really shouldn't grab ourselves back, but in case we get an auger off the top, I guess that doesn't help us either because we can't play them down. So the Kuzan at least can replace himself. Of course we draw another one. Well, that sucks. We probably should have, no, because if we stage, then we can't use our leader skill. Just in case she draws into a Karasu or what have you here. Cool. I guess. I mean, we can at least cycle this, can't we? Okay, that's good. Doesn't really help us. We need to find another 2k counter. Okay, never mind. We're cooked. We're definitely cooked. We can take stage again, though. But then we don't have another card to play stage off of, so never mind. Alright, do your worst. She should be able to kill us here. Because that's 5 hits. There's the koala. I think I needed to keep the Kuzan in hand instead of using leader skill that turn anyhow, so it's just unfortunate she was able to grab that instead. She does do a damage to herself, which is nice, and we have an opportunity of removing it, but we have to block on the last hit, because if we block first and then the card that we play comes in rested, she just kills that. You know what I mean? But we do have a way of winning this matchup, because we have 1 leader swing. Yeah, we have a way of doing it. We'll see. Because we've got Kuzan and lead for next turn. And she's got 2 cards in hand. Yep. So we've got no counter, which is, you love to see it. Sounds about, you know, the usual. There's a stronger. Yep. And I don't think there isn't a way she doesn't try to force the block here. Because the next turn for her is just guaranteed, right? Just goes 5. 3 Dawn open. For what reason? Unless she has Karasu for the other blocker. Or Inazuma. Because she has 2 Karasus in trash. It might be an Inazuma. We'll save it. Or sorry, we'll save the Kuzan. Just in case. Yep. Okay, cool. Much rather that than another blocker here. Now we trash this. I guess we'll play Kuzan. Because at least he can attack. And then we can pop him for the auger. I think that's math, right? We need to at least go 8 or 6. Because we have to do at least 1 damage, and then we pop the Koala with the Kuzan and the 7-drop. Ooh, actually, because that's 3. Yeah, the Doctor doesn't help here. We have to play the 7-drop. So we're going to have to get the Augur after we swing in with Kuzan and do it that way. What do we got here? That goes to 2. Augur's here. I think we're chilling. As long as she takes the hit, we should be fine. And she might take the hit due to the fact that it could be a trigger. And perhaps she thinks she's safe, sitting behind the 1 blocker here. Let's go 7 lead here. It's either... Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing that. Well played. Because at this point... That's math, right? Oh, it was a trigger. She lost. Thank you. Like, I mean, I guess it had no counter anyway, so it wouldn't have saved her, right? Because if she had the 2K, it wouldn't have mattered. Because we swung for 7. Now with the teach, we popped this, and then we were able to go game. Wasn't that smooth? I'm pretty sure she cooked herself, though, right? Like, logically, I think she cooked herself. Because we couldn't have... Yeah, we couldn't have won the game if she guarded there. I think that's how that works. But oh well. Yeah, you discarded your 2K counter. You guys don't really need to sit there and watch me just sit here and yammer. So, it's all good. But in any case, like I was saying, if you guys are super curious, all she had to do was guard with the blocker. That's it. And then she won the game. Because we only had 1 attack there and we have no rush. So, once we swung in with the Kuzan for 7, she had 1 card in hand. And if it was the 2K counter like she claimed it was, she had to have blocked with the Koala in order to not take damage. But considering she let the attack go through, we were able to do what we did there with the Augur and the 7-cost teach to pop the blocker, then go for face with the leader. So, I think it was just more so a misplay on her part than anything else. But perhaps she was thinking that she's going to get something off a life there that wouldn't have mattered. You know what I mean? I don't know. It is what it is. We take that W. I know a lot of people love seeing Bella Betty lose, so there's that. Some salt. In any case, we're going to dive into another game here against Luffy, everyone's old favorite deck. And I'll be fair, I don't even remember this deck. It's kind of a blur, thankfully. I know it does the thing with the babies and like it gets stronger and all that, but without Moria, is this deck even viable anymore? Like, can you Luffy without Moria? Can you do that? I don't think you can one without the other, you know? At least right now. Because I know you guys get support here in OP12, I believe. Because we get the new ace. Which is pretty good. It's pretty good. I think it's OP12. Maybe it's PRB. I forget. It's one or the other. But it's a yellow ace that you guys get to play around with. I'm not sure if that's going to make or break the Luffy deck. So, we'll see. I'm hoping we don't have to run into this Luffy variant ever again. That'd be great. Because no one liked the Moria Luffy combination. So, but I should be able to have a good matchup in here into this one if we draw the cards we need. And that's pretty much it. Because we're able to stop the on plays when he's cycling the Sabos, which really hurt him. So, Devon, that was probably a mistake on my part. I probably should have done that. I probably should just play the Augur on board. Yeah, I definitely should play the Augur on board, because that way we would have been able to play 7-cost Teach next turn. And we've been chilling. We can pitch this because we can get... Wow, okay. Alright. as I was saying, we could pitch the Augur because we can get it back from the trash from the Kuzan. Instead, we draw into another Kuzan or an Augur, which is alright. Thanks, game. Appreciate it. Alright, Luffy's on 0 life, so, okay, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, so he's on 0 life, and he's already going for game. Turn 4, by the way. It's kind of crazy. He's really just going all aggro, although we have 10 cost beard soon, so it's kind of weird. I'm not sure if that's the way you're supposed to do this, or the man just said, we're going to go face. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's going face. Ace is swinging at me for 9k. He's got quite a bit of cards in hand here. We do get another blocker, which is nice to see. We get a Tempest Kick, which is kind of irrelevant. I don't really need to pop anything here on board. And yeah, we probably should have guarded one of those attacks, but I think we're fine, because we have another 1-cost blocker. And Luffy doesn't typically use removal unless he's using the, the 5-cost Luffy, so I think we're alright. We'll take this. Just because we can. I mean, we could potentially stack all 8 Dawn and go face, but there's no way he doesn't have the counter in hand. I think if we do that, we definitely just lose the game. As much as I want to risk it, Because I hate this matchup more than you guys do. Alright, let's play Augur down here. For what reason, I'm not too sure. We do have a way of removing the ace, which isn't all too bad. I think we just cooked it. Actually, we just messed that up. Yeah, we just messed that up. We should have not used the search there and just done the Doctor into the Tempest Kick. Right? That's math, right? Because we go Tempest Kick, Von Augur, then Doctor. Yeah. So we killed him that way. That's my fault. Oh well. Things happen. It is what it is. Let's make this a blocker here. Go ahead and use leader ability. And get rid of this Kuzan here. 1 Dawn open. We'll play this on board for now. That's my fault. I got overexcited. And we should have just done what I mentioned before. There's that search. Because Ace could have been gone. We wouldn't have to deal with that anymore, which would have been great. Gets Luffy. Which one is this one? Okay, the baby. 7 lead. Oh, okay, never mind. Leader skill first, my fault. Gets Luffy back on board. 2,000 power. Goes to 9k. I don't miss this. I'm sure you guys don't either. This is just a pain in the butt. But Sabo doesn't get to draw the 2 cards. So, you lose a lot of value here, actually. We're going to go 9 lead. We cannot take both hits, obviously. Because Luffy's still swinging for 11. Goodness gracious. Going down to 0. In case he has another ace in hand, we're going to have to guard here. Because if we take that hit and he plays another ace next turn and boosts himself back up to 11k, we don't have the counter for that. We'll drop the Teach. As much as I want to block out the Sabo here, we don't have a way of attacking him next turn. And I think that was a misplay on my part here too, right? No, that's fine. We can go and freeze the ace, that's okay. We might need to keep the black hole, because we can black hole the Sabo. Or whatever blocker he decides to play back on board next turn. Which is nice. We can't swing here either on anything. We'll give this blocker, almost forgot. Okay. Leader ability. I guess we really don't need this, do we? Or actually, we kind of do. Because we can Sabo, we can get rid of the Sabo. But we have the Doctor in hand and the Tempest Kick, which is a little bit cheaper. By 1 Dawn, but still. Depending on what he boosts his leader to this turn, that 1 Dawn might make or break this game, too. So. Alright, Luffy, do your worst, man. Do your worst. I mean, technically, he's got quite a bit of swings here. Yep. What we got here? 1 ace in trash. That's 3 babies down there as well. And I think at this point, Well, I guess Moria really wouldn't save him here either, because we just stopped the on-plays. I think Teach has a really good matchup into this leader. Yep. Do your worst. Sanji. So he is out of the big boys. He does have the Luffy, which isn't going to help him in this situation because, you know, she's a 5-cost blocker, so... which is nice. The other Luffy could trash the Sanji to gain the boost. Okay. So we're not swinging with Sabo here. Interesting. I wonder if he would have swung with Sabo. I don't think he could have taken the game, though. We've got 2 blockers on board. Yeah, no, we were chilling, We're fine. Because Luffy swings in for what? That's 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's right. 11 here. We could just take this hit. Because we win next turn. Nice. Well, good game, buddy. Well played. The Luffy will go to the... not the Luffy, sorry. The Sanji will go to the trash. I don't have to worry about that being counter. We just have to remove the Sabo here. And that's it. So that becomes a 2. We have the Augur. We play down the Doctor. And then we're just chilling. Well played, buddy. We go 12k with Teach, then put everything else on Devon. I almost messed up. That was close. Okay. Do it this way. There have been games where I'll click the Doctor before I click the Augur, and it's too late because I can't go back, you know? So then you just, like, whiff the whole turn, basically. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't have any counter for this either. I mean, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good game. I almost messed up at a couple points. And I think that if we would have given him blockers earlier, we definitely would have got cooked. Well played. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into another game. Come at you guys with Teach, playing into blue-yellow Nami here in OP11. After this matchup here, we're going to change the deck list to the second list in which I showed you guys, and we're going to try to tackle as many Luffys as we can within a decent amount of time. Because I think with the intro and the games that we've done leading up to this one, we're probably over an hour, if not close to an hour, and typically my videos are about an hour, hour 10 roughly. So I'm looking to do maybe 3 to 5 games against whatever Luffy variants I can come across with the second variation of Teach. So we're going to try our best. I know those matchups are not particularly easy, and I understand that a lot of people like to say that Blackbeard has a good matchup into blue-purple Luffy. Yes, it's okay, but it's by far from easy. For most of my experiences in the matchup is I've noticed that a lot of Teach players like to do leader skill on turn 5 Dawn, roughly, when it comes to, Luffy's turn. That way it shuts down the Namis, it'll shut down the searches. It's interesting because you don't really want to pitch cards at all until Luffy goes into the 8 Dawn. Once he's in 8 Dawn, the following turn he's dropping, the Big Moms and the Sanjis, or 9 Dawn, sorry. And that's when you need to be pitching cards in that matchup. But I'm going to try my best. We're going to go ahead and finish this one first, and we'll dive into a bunch of games and see what we can cook up here. Nami, on the other hand, this is my first time playing against Nami as Blackbeard, so I'm not entirely too sure how we are going to handle this matchup. I'll be fair. There are certain cards in which I know we need to kill on sight, which are going to be the 2-cost Teach. And that's pretty much it, realistically. Nothing else in Nami is problematic. Oh, I guess Cavendish, right? Cavendish is a thing. Because they're going to consider or constantly get her value. So everything else she plays down typically has a on-play ability in the late game. So the 7-cost Mom. And you have the not the Odin. Well, I was going to say Odin. 7-cost Mom. The 6-cost Mom. And then Mihawk.
Some Nami lists are running that for whatever reason. It is what it is. But that's pretty much it. And Eustace Kid. Almost forgot about him. As long as we're paying attention to her Dawn by those turns, we should be chilling here. We already have Von Augur on board. We have the setup for next turn with the 7-drop Teach or the Dock Q. So we should be fine in that regard. That sucks. She bottom decked our Burgess. That was rude. 8 lead. We'll block out here. It's easier for me to do that than just let the attack go through, in which most cases we want the extra cards, but in Nami's case she gets to draw one for free. So we'll go ahead and play down ya boy here. Actually, where are we at? Yeah, this is fine, because we still have one Dawn open. We don't need to play down stronger here either. We'll pitch this. Unfortunate. That kind of sucks. Well, not really, because you can play this down here as well. We can pitch the stronger here, just in case she has a way of removing the Teach this turn with another Red Rock. Go 5 lead. I do like the fact that she is running the Shirahoshi. I think that's really, really good here, especially against all the black decks that you guys will come across. Whether or not you guys have Luccis or Blackbeards at your locals, who knows? But I'm very, very favorable when it comes to Shirahoshi and yellow variants right now. I think there's way too much removal, and everybody has an opportunity of removal. Kobe decks, Smoker, with the Honesty Impacts. Shiroshi's pretty good, allowing you to stay alive in the early game. Alright, go ahead and lead her skill here. She's at 9 Dawn, so that means there's not going to be any Sanjis into the 7-drop Big Moms, nothing of that nature. Teaches off the board, so she can't have a setup here, which is good. Right? Yeah. Okay. Sure. Second blocker. Another 8k into probably into Teach, I imagine. Oh, she's going face. Okay. You got it. At least you could have cleared the Von Augur there. Because if she would have cleared that, then Cavendish would have stayed on board. I'm guessing she just assumed that we had the counter. Ooh, we can take the Kuzan here. She can't clear the Kuzan, which is nice. I probably should have thought about that originally, but yeah. Oops. Let's go ahead and pop this real quick. -3. We'll pop that for free as well. Let's go 5 lead first. I'm not really worried about going 7k here because I want to play down 10 cost Teach. And if she has a Red Rock, she has a Red Rock. It is what it is on this note. At least in this situation, the 7 cost Teach on board is going to be safe, right? What's in trash though? Hold on. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. I don't think that removes. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay. We'll go ahead and pass turn over. Like I said, this is going to be my first interaction with this deck at all against Nami, so. Yep, she had the rock. That sucks. As much as I played Nami, I kind of know the inner workings of it, so. That's good at least. Kikinojo, probably, or Soul Pocus. What else does she put in life here? I'm not sure if she's running any sort of trigger variant, so Cracker. I think that's pretty much it, right? I think I've seen some lists with Denjiro, but we'll see. Oof. I'll take this again. That's fine. Man, that kind of sucks. Because now we have to play another 10 cost Teach here, in which if she has another Red Rock, we don't really have a means of going for game. Okay, cool, never mind. We're chilling, we're chilling, we're chilling. Because now we get 2 of them. Might as well just go 6. Well, I guess I should have swung 5 with lead and not have swung at all with Augur here. Because now he just becomes a target for the next turn. She had a 7 Mom, which is nice. I'm not sure why she didn't play that. But then again, we did leader skill, so I guess that makes sense. Sure. Okay, Nekomamushi, interesting. I have not playtested Neko at all in any of my Nami variations, so that's kind of cool. This leads me to believe that she's probably playing some sort of Wanu package. Because I feel like if you're playing with the Hiyori and Mushi, maybe you have the Momos in here as well. The one that becomes a blocker and allows you to put a Wanu back on life. I'm not sure. Definitely has Kikanojo then too, if that's the case. But I'm pretty sure if she doesn't have a red rock here, we should be fine to win the game. Well, that was 6 Dawn. Okay, oof, that's good. Yeah, we're chilling then. Because if she had red rock, then that would be 2 7k swings. And then we lose. Because we have no counter. So unless that's like a finger pistol, then we're just cooked. Oh wait, no. Yeah, we'd be cooked. Because she would just bottom deck the Teach, swing with Nami or Nekomamushi. I'd imagine Nekomamushi first for 7k, and that's it. But no red rock, we're chilling. We'll guard here. Neko can't swing. Also, I think I was just yammering because Nekomamushi can't swing either because we have already used our 10 cost ability. So, we were fine. Panicking for no reason. Stage. I believe nothing can save her outside of a 0 cost event, right? She's got 2 blockers. So we swing both, and then a 0 cost event keeps her alive, and then we lose the following turn. If we play another Teach here, we just freeze the Shirahoshi. That way it can't block. If we pop the Shirahoshi, she heals a life, so we have to remove a body on board instead. Freeze that one. We go 5 here. Get another card out of hand. I think taking it slow is probably the way to go there. Okay. She's trying to tempt me, I think. Oof, counter is nice. Doesn't matter what it is. It's 1k, 2k. I think we'll survive now. We'll trash this. Alright, so we play down another Nekomamushi here. I don't know why. Because she's not going to survive until next turn. And I think she had to go for game here. So she needed to see removal. And without the removal, she doesn't make it the next turn. Or to the end of the next turn. Because Momo can't swing. Ace is another one. But he also doesn't have rush. Because he can't have on place. So, good game. Well played. 1 blocker up. I guess we just go hard here. Because this will force her to give me 2 cards out of hand or take the hit or block out. 7, 9, and then 12, 12. Realistically. Nami be stalling me out here. Yep. Go 9. Sure. And then GG. Was pretty good, man. It was definitely a little bit closer than I thought. And I think if I wasn't on point with my on plays, we would have got cooked here. She did utilize a lot of rush characters with the Momonosuke and the aces, so that did kind of catch me off guard. Which is not something I'm used to when it comes to utilizing Nami. So this is kind of a variation of which I haven't explored just yet, but...
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and dive into a couple more games today with Blackbeard playing into Usopp. We did change to deck list number 2 here, so we're going to try our best in this regard. Usopp is not one of those leaders in which people like to think that Blackbeard can just run over. He does have a little bit more work you have to play around with, considering his bodies he plays on board are typically a little bit higher cost. That +1 can make a difference sometimes, especially when you don't see your Dot Q and your Augur on curve or your 7-drop Teach. But I've also learned that in this matchup, you can't typically just pitch for leader skill willy-nilly. You kind of got to do it on curve, and Usopp's curve is he likes to go first 9 out of 10 times, which means 7 Dawn is quite huge for him.
because it goes into like the Rebecca the Kyros combination, but also on Dawn 4 for him is Zoro. So you got to be a little bit mindful of when you guard out early game and when you play your leader skill. It's a trial and error, and I think a lot of matchups with Blackbeard are kind of trial and error. It's not necessarily that you are bad, it's more so like you have to learn the matchup, and it's repetition. This one took me a little bit to figure out when I first started playing Blackbeard, but again, he has really good matchups into pretty much everything in the meta outside of aggro. And we're talking like Zoro and Bello Betty can be a problematic, but everything else, it's more of a, I don't want to say chess versus checkers, but again, trial and error. But we'll get there. In any case, we're doing pretty good right now. We do have Doctor. We are able to play down the Augur on the next turn, which is pretty good. I've also run into some Usopp players that are using Haruden, which he is here as well, and that's a terrifying card, I think, for him to be able to stick on board. I don't know what that is in Trash, but if he's able to stick down Haruden and we don't have removal for it, it's very, very problematic, because he can get -4, then play Zoro's down and do a whole shtick. So, and then some of them also utilize Houndblaze, and that's something that I don't typically take account for, because it's kind of it's a wild card, but it does come up occasionally. Am I ever ready for it? Not really. 5 cost and 4 cost. We're only on 6 Dawn here. I really need to get down Teach if possible. I mean, Black Hole's not bad, but we still can't. We cannot remove the Zoro unless we do a Black Hole into like a stronger combination. He's going to draw a card regardless. If we hit him, he takes a card. If he guards out, he takes a card. Getting a second Augur for counter is pretty decent too, and we can also pitch it later on in Trash and bring it back with Kuzan. There's just so many ins and outs with Blackbeard. There's so many different ways you can go about doing a turn, and that's one of the other things that kind of just pull me back from the leader, at least doing videos and content, because the matchups take a little bit longer than I like to think, or sorry, a little bit longer than I want them to, just because I have to sit here and think of what I want to do. It's like similar to playing Lucci or Rebecca, although I think Lucci's more of like repetition at this point. Like, I mean, you kind of know what's going to happen, and Blackbeard, you can pop cards in so many different ways during your turns. It's kind of cool. 5 here. I'm hoping Augur can stick on board. I really am. 6, give you the 2. I don't want to go down to 2 life just yet, at least for this turn. Okay, so Rebecca, which is kind of irrelevant right now, which is pretty good. We're going to go ahead and do the thing, because we can play 7 cost, but I'm also going to swing at the Zoro first and see what he wants to do here. If I can clear either the blocker or the Zoro this turn, that'd be great. Nice, cool. So now it doesn't feel too bad, because now we got rid of the blocker and the Zoro this turn. And then we have to lead skill, or sorry, leader ability. If we trash stage, we lose another card in hands. I do want to keep the 10 cost Teach, obviously. We already have an Augur on board, so possibly he attacks into that next turn. Then we need something to replace it. So we're on. Oh, actually, never mind. We're on 8 Dawn, so we're not gonna play another Augur next turn. So we could have trashed that and kept the Kuzan, realistically. That way, Kuzan has free reign on the board. He can't remove it. He can get a swing in, then trash himself to bring back Augur to do a combination again. So that's probably something we should have done. He's on 9. What does he normally have here? I've seen some Usopps run Mihawk, but I think it's likely he plays down to Luffy or blockers here. Luffy would be pretty good because he can actually attack into... Oh yeah, okay. That's fair. That kind of sucks. This might be a big gamble, but I want to bet that he's going to Dawn up Rebecca and swing into the Augur here if we guard out. So let's just give it a try. And if he does, he does. We can pitch the Kuzan for it. Because it looks like he's probably going to save 2 Dawn. Yeah, 4 Dawn, sorry. For a blocker here. We'll give him the Kuzan. We have no hand, but we get to keep this on board. Which means we can pop the Frankie. This is pretty good for us. We'll go ahead and turn off his leader skill. This will prevent him from drawing a card if we KO one of these characters on board, which we're going to here. It's possible we get both. Nice. Boom. Then we have to pitch for lead skill. Of course, he's been starving me this whole game, which that also sucks because he's been going for my characters. There's nothing wrong with the way he's playing. He's definitely doing it correctly. It's just for me, I wish I had cards, you know what I mean? And I think if Blackbeard ever gets the opportunity to get an activate main character that allows him to draw cards or what have you, it'd be very, very good. Because then you can get out of situations like this where you... Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. I always forget about this darn thing. In which you can get out of situations where you're starved. You know what I mean? So. Now with us turning off his abilities pretty much this whole game from 7 Dawn onward, we haven't had to deal with Kyros a single time. He does get to clear a body here, which is nice, but we get to draw one off the Augur, which happens to be Kuzan, which is good for us due to the fact that we can drop Kuzan back on board. We draw a card off the Kuzan, and we get to recycle the Augur or a Burgess from trash. Which at this state in the game, Burgess is probably pretty good, isn't he? Do we have one? Unfortunate. Okay. Let's go 5 lead first. 2 Dawn open. There's a Sabo. I mean, I guess we can just pop the Leo, but it's not really... It's not practical. Because we have 1 Burgess here in trash. Yeah, this is fine. We do need to get cards back here for our ability. Oh, well, there's another Burgess and another Augur, which is pretty good. Doesn't really matter because we have to pitch it anyway, so. Or actually, we don't. Because we use Kuzan's ability, we get to draw a card, so. I think we're chilling either way. We'll take this. We'll do the thing here. Put this on board. Pop this for free. Yep, that's fine. Go 8 lead. And then we'll stick your boy on board. He's kind of terrifying right now, I think. Was he like, yeah, okay. I guess he could Kyros here, right? So it's not really that big of a deal. We'll take Liberation. It's not really it doesn't really matter which card here we get, because we're going to pitch it anyway. It's just, you know, it is what it is. So now he's a 10. And we had the turn off skill, just in case he does drop Kyros and bounce back the Burgess. Okay. Double Zoro, Hideo. I think he's just throwing down bodies at this point. I mean, I guess. We'll go ahead and play this on the Hideo and then pop it with Doctor here. I'm aware we could have killed it with the 7-cost Teach. I get it. And we could have cycled it out and then looked for another 10 Beard. I understand. But this way we have a big body that can swing this turn. He's got 4 cards in hand and 3 lives. I mean, we can potentially go for game here. We'll swing here with 10. Also, if you guys see the lines in any of my plays in which I don't see, please let me know. I mean, it's a learning process overall. It helps all of us get better. I'm sure there's things in which I could have done differently to make a better play, and that's totally okay. Nice. So, this might be a huge risk. If he has the counter, we take 3 damage next turn, right? Because he doesn't have... Well, actually... He could, what's that card called? The 3-drop thing gives him the giant boost. I forgot, top of my head. Good, cool, well played. It is what it is. I'm sure you guys are gonna be like, why bother including that game? It's just trial and error, man. We're just gonna keep shooting these games off as quickly as we can. Whether or not Luffy gets triggered and leaves, or whoever we run into, it be what it be. It's Blackbeard. You don't get to play your own plays. You don't get to have fun. This is the whole point of this deck. So, we're going to go about it from that way. Let's go ahead and search here. This is one matchup in which I think we haven't done this variation of this list on yet. At least recording-wise. It's very easy. And to a point where, not the matchup in general, but just when to use leader skill. That's the easiest part in this matchup. The late game is just big body after big body after big body when it comes to Luffy. In the early game, he's going to play down his was it Sangoro? Yeah, Sanjoro, whatever. No, sorry. Zoro Joro. And then he's going to play down his Bond Clays, right? You don't care about that. He's going to play down his 5-drop Nami, gives him the draw 2, draw 3, whatever. You don't care about that either. It's from 9 dawn onward is when you need to be triggering your leader skill each and every turn. Everything prior to that is kind of irrelevant. He's going to be playing, like, again, the Zoro down regardless to get the Dawn up. The Bond Clay is irrelevant because we can kind of pop that with Augur and Dot Q, so that's not problematic. As long as you remove it before the 10 cost Teach hits the board, then you can copy the the 12k power. That's when you have a problem. Until that point, is lackluster. Once it swings, you kill it, This isn't bad. We'll take the Burgess here. The other problematic card here in the situation is going to be Burgess for you. If you can get a Burgess down early game and just watch him pile up when it comes to power, Luffy has to bottom deck it because you're typically not going to swing with him until you have the board control. Because the moment you swing, you don't have any blockers down, he just kills it, right? 6 here. And I always try to go 6 if possible with leader. I don't try to go like 9k, 10k with lead, because that just gives him the opportunity to drop the Gum Gum Giant, right? If he does that, he draws 2 extra cards, does the whole shtick. Going 6, it's a little bit easier because it's just a 1k counter from him, which means less cards in hand, less cards to throw away for Giant. It's a whole thing. Speaking of Bond Clay, that's the second one. Unfortunate. So it looks like he's going to be able to get off his leader ability next turn, which is a turn earlier than I like, but our hand is not the best either when it comes to counter, but we do have 3 10 beards. So we're going to try to make use of these if possible. We'll get this on board. We'll do the thing. Yeah, we could probably play the 7 cost here, which is okay, but at least this way, we have 2 rested characters that if he swings into them, we get the draw cards. We'll get 1 blocker down here too. Ooh, none of these are great, honestly. Because Black Hole does not get value here. His characters are going to be too big at this point. And we have to pitch the stronger anyway, so. Because we have to turn off his abilities. This is where I was saying that he got his leader skill ready to go a turn early. If he didn't, we were able to keep the stronger or the Black Hole there, depending on which card we decided to keep. But there's the 7, sorry, there's the 9-drop Sanji. Oh, no, sorry, that's the blocker. It's my fault. OP7, sorry. So, he's got at least a 2k that we know of. He has some Giants in hand. He has left up Dawn at this point. We'll get a Finger P. We don't need the Doctor because we have the Augur and the 7 cost. So, we're chilling here. We'll take 2 hits. What would you like to do, good sir? If he wants to give me a big body here, I'm totally cool with that. Hey, love to see it. Let's go. This is the only character in which he can slap down in this matchup that's problematic for you, because everything else you just turn off their abilities. Eventually you have to deal with them because they're still big beat sticks, but the Katakuri is very, very problematic because you have to get over that and Giant, so. This is why we decided to go with the Finger Pistols here in this matchup. What do we have here? Kuzan does have some targets. We do have some Burgesses in the trash. And I think that's pretty good. I think we have 14 here too. Yeah, we have 14 cards in trash. So, we'll do the thing. This also allows us to draw an extra card. Or, yeah, this is cool, We'll do this. Trash, we'll put Burgess in play. And then now for next turn, he has to make two decisions. Either drop bodies on board, right? Which will be a Sanji, a Katakuri, or a Big Mom. Or he has to remove Beerjus, because he's just going to get even stronger while he stays on board. And this is kind of how the field looks if you're doing well. Of course, Luffy still has a ridiculous amount of cards in hand, and there's probably going to be a bunch of stuff we have to get through to probably go for a game. I understand. This is a very grindy based game, but the board being clear at this stage when you have leader skill on means, like I said, if he sticks a big body down, Beerjus gets to stay on board. And then the following turn, we have access to the 7-drop or the 10-cost Teach, which is really good. That way we can freeze it. He can't do anything about it. Then he has an option of red rocking 10-cost Teach or the Beerjus. That we just play another one down. So, we're looking pretty good. There's another giant. I can't wait to see what these new bans bring for next month for all these Luffy players, man. I feel like the tiers are going to be so good. They're going to be so nice. This leader is, he's very problematic, I think, for a lot of people. It reminds me of the old days where you see Sakazuki everywhere. If you guys were here for that. Not that the deck was just unfun, but it was very good, and the meta was just consisted of Sakazuki. In this situation, now the meta is consisted of Luffy everywhere. Main character, cool, but I think a lot of people are tired of it already. I've seen content creators put out videos or posts or in Discords, and they mention that the current metagame, OP11, is just mad boring. Because it's just, if you're not playing Luffy, what are you doing, right? It's not fun. Speaking of which, Rosinante is pretty spicy. So I'm guessing he's running a Doflamingo package with the 8-drop Dofi, Rosinante, and the rest of the good stuff. Which is really good. It's very hard to get over that just because they get to stand up the extra Dawn. But we're going to start poking here. Trying to get cards out of hand. See what he wants to do about that. We do know he has the giant, or at least one giant right now. I'm assuming 2. There's a gear second, goes to 9, sure. And another Rosinante. There's 2 cards out of hand. One giant that we know of, so 4 cards left. We can either 10 Beard, just to freeze the Rosie and just have the body on board, which I think this is the best play. Because again, for next turn he has to decide whether or not to red rock or drop a big body. Get a search, we can toss this. Ooh, I guess we'll take this as well for now. We'll trash. You may argue my error was not the best one to throw away, and you're probably correct. You're probably right. But it's okay. It's fine. Not really. We probably should have kept that. In case he decides to starve us, you know? Alright, Luffy. 7, 8, 9. So he has options of Red Rock, right? That gives him 4 Dawn left. And he gets to restand a couple Dawn at the end of the turn, I think, with the Rosinante. Usohachi. Cannot rest blockers here, because no on plays, which is good. What do you want to do? Okay. That's the 2k he got earlier. That's nice to know. So he had Sanji, Usohachi, and Gum Gum Giant. So we know 2 other cards in his hand, 4 we don't know. Alright. Interesting. No Dawn for you, buddy, because you aren't Doflamingo. We definitely have to remove the Sanji. Oh, never mind. Already messed up. Already messed up. That's not math. That's not math, because this goes down to 2. And I was thinking remove the Sanji. And we should have put that -2 in Rosinante. Oh well. It happens. It is what it is. We're not going to lose a game over this play, but still. We should have hit the Rosinante instead. Dang, man. That's rough. I guess it'd be what it'd be at this point. So he gets to keep the blocker for, or sorry, Rosinante for one more turn. Which is not the end of the world, but still. We should have killed that instead of the Sanji. Or sorry, instead of marking the Sanji. So we get the 2k. 20 in trash. Your boy's at 10k right now. We'll just go 10 lead first. 10 to 4, so this could be a giant plus something else where he takes the hit or guards here. Okay. I was for sure that he would give us the Sanji in that regard. Oh, he does, cool. Because technically we could have still had a Tempest Kick and then used to teach the pop it, but obviously we don't have that, but he doesn't know that, so we'll use that to our advantage. One Dawn up, which doesn't do anything for us. I could have used the stage, but you know, I don't really want to pitch either one of these cards. If I can stick an Augur on board next turn and, you know, safely, we get to have some fun games. Hello? Oh, okay. Guess he just knew he was cooked. Fair enough. Well played. That was a pretty good game. Spook, but pretty good.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably do maybe 1 to 3 games after this one, then we'll call it a day. This might be the longest video that I posted. As of late, maybe. I think I might have had like a Yamato video, probably somewhere around here, maybe. But I had a lot of fun with this one. This is one of those leaders in which I don't necessarily get into, just because it's a black deck in which takes a lot longer of a time to do content, considering these matchups are relatively long, you know? And a lot of people also don't like seeing Blackbeard, so there's that as well. But we do have some fans out there. So we're going to play a couple more games here, then we'll dive back into the deck lists at the end of the video. And then we'll get into the next one, which I've told you guys we're going to do King. And then we have quite a bit of upcoming decks to venture into for OP12. I think after we do King, Shanks, and maybe 1 or 2 more, give or take, of OP11, we'll be going straight into OP12 by that point. And that's prior to release or pre-release and all that sort of stuff. But in any case, as per usual, Luffy gets down Zoro. He does have it this time around. We're going to go 6k lead. We're going to hold off on our leader ability until we get to the curve. We're looking to stop Mihawks, Sanjis, and Big Moms from hitting the board and giving value. Of course, there's still going to be a big body that we have to figure out how to remove, but we should be fine. And I also think going forward, I'm going to try to prioritize Burgess more in this matchup if possible. If I can set it up while having removal on board. I know it's going to be a little bit tricky, but we're going to try our best. We do have a finger pistol or finger gun for the 8-cost Katakuri when he decides to drop that on board, and that's kind of the only card in which I want to have on-spot removal for. Everything else is just I can remove it over time. Just the 8-cost Katakuri makes it a little bit more difficult because it's an 8k blocker, and we have to get around that and Gum Gum Giant. So we'll trash this for now. There's a Burgess, which is good. We can actually get that back from the trash later on with Kuzan if need be. Play another stage, but then we have to pitch another card. Oh well. We still have 5 left, so. We have either Burgess or Black Hole. And again, we can get Burgess back with the Kuzan. Nice, we get an Augur here. Perfect. We'll play Augur down, actually. Because Augur is going to be the better card here in this situation. Because we have setup here for the 7-cost Teach. Which is good for us. 1 Dawn open. I probably should have swung 5 into the Zoro first before we played Augur down, so that's my bad. Because in this situation, if he decides to guard out, we just pop it with Augur. We'll get cards out of hand, surely, but still. I think either way, yeah. The reason why we decided not to do it is because he's going to attack into it. And I want to keep Augur on board. We have nothing to pitch the counter for it. It's because we need him for 7-cost Teach. Which next turn... Okay. Goodness, man. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last game of the day. Then we'll dive back into the deck list at the end of the video as we typically do. I do hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. This is going to be one of my longer videos, at least for some time, when it comes to Blackbeard. And I think this is probably my second or third Blackbeard video on the channel. So, long overdue. I apologize for the wait, man. This is just one of those leaders where people just get very tired of seeing it at local scene and all that sort of thing. And with people not really playing this leader as much, I figured now is the time to get back into it. Let people know Blackbeard is still very, very strong and prevalent. He does a thing. So, there's actually a pretty good search here. We'll take this one, though. Just to get some cards in the trash. Ooh, I guess we'll take the Kuzan. Play down stage here. Or we go 6K. Or blocker. It's a lot of work here. Because if we play stage, we can't swing, right? If we play a blocker down, he can't pop our searcher, so this might be a little bit better for us this turn. I'd rather him attack into us. That way we get cards, but if he wants to go for the searcher, I guess it'd be what it'd be. The same old Zoro probably coming down here this turn. Hopefully not. Okay. Attaching Dawn. Okay. I mean, if you want to go the extra mile, buddy, I guess that's fine. Although we only have 2 10-cost teaches in hand, we have no counter. We're going to have to get rid of this instead. I'd rather see some more pieces here before we let this go. And there's Zoro. Finger pistol. That's nice to see. We definitely aren't going to do that, that's for sure. Nothing in trash that's viable here. We're going to have to search pretty heavily this turn. Oof. The 2K. There's a 7-beard. That we can take. This is pretty good here in this matchup. And that's implying we see Augur, which we did not see this turn, so... Oh, speak of him. He shows up. It's a little late for that, but hey man, we might be able to get him down next turn. We'll see. Let's go 8 lead. I probably should just went 6, to be honest. This way he just gives us a 1K or 2K counter. I feel like anytime we go over 6, it's either a giant or he takes the life. Yep. Sure. What do you develop here? A Nami, maybe? Bond Clay? Same old, same old. Next turn we could run 5 into Zoro, see if he lets it go. If he decides to give us any counter, we'll just drop the 7 cost and then pop it that way. So Luffy's leader ability will be active next turn, which is unfortunate. 4 Dawn open. Still has enough for Bond Clay. That way he can get another ramp up. He doesn't need it, but he can keep the Bond Clay for the 10 cost each turn. Never mind. Sure. Awful. Absolutely awful. I guess we're taking a third 10 cost each. Or we can just take this and trash this for later, but that seems irrelevant. Unfortunately, our hand is pretty cooked right now, boys. Definitely pretty cooked. Let's go 5 here. Please just let it go. I'm not worried about the ramp, obviously. It's more so just another body on board. Regardless of what he does here, we still get to pop it for free, so... Okay, thanks for that, I guess. Please burn more cards, appreciate you. We're gonna have to do stage. We need to get stuff here, man. Sorry about that, yo. We need to get some stuff here, man. We really only need to see 1 finger gun. We could actually be fine by getting rid of 10 cost teach as well.
Boy, these draws have been awful. I'll take Beerges. Not necessarily awful, just like in the worst order, essentially. Okay. Trash this as well. We can get that back later with Kuzan. So we're at 7 Dawn, right? So we get a 9 next turn. We could potentially drop down Kuzan into the Beerges. That wouldn't be too bad. I imagine he kills 7 cost on board right now, actually. Because we don't have any counter, and we didn't have counter even if we kept the Beerges in hand. We were already cooked. Seeing 10 cost Beard is pretty good, but being able to have 3 of them already in your hand, and we didn't have very good selections off the stage to begin with this matchup, our hand is pretty bad. I think the only way we actually survive is being able to stall him out from dropping his big bodies with our leader skill. Yeah, you can have it. And there's not a whole lot that we can take from trash here that's kind of relevant at this point. We just take the Beerges if we want to. If not, we're just taking back 7 cost Beard because we can get the Beerges back again with the Kuzan. So, and you got 6 Dawn open. So you can perhaps play a blocker here, leave 1 Dawn up, and then do the Nami thing. Which seems pretty good. There it is, which seems pretty good. Then he realizes, I guess, leader skill is still on, so there's that. Another finger P. Interesting. I guess we can just pop it. We have an extra finger pistol, it's fine. The only other option here is dropping the 7 drop and then searching with stage, which we still can do. Or we can establish Kuzan here. Let's establish Kuzan. We'll pass turn over. Do the thing. Great. You see what I mean? Like just in like the worst order possible with these searches. We already have a Kuzan here, so. But he knows we have Kuzan and the 7 cost Beard, so it doesn't really necessarily matter what we drop. We can even drop 10 cost too, because he knows we have 2 of them in hand. It's a rough game. Go ahead, draw your red rocks. I think his leader ability is just really, really good for the matchup like this, because it allows him to set up and get ready for the big boys by cycling red rock on the top. You know what I mean? It's just really, really good. So we got Usohachi. So that means we know he's got another 2k in hand. Plus some not gravity blades, sorry, plus some red rocks. I don't know why I said red rocks, I meant to say giant. Because he left the Dawn up previously, so that tells me he's got quite a few of those, unless he's baiting me. Which I doubt it, so. I'd much rather him just drop some big bodies this turn. I'd like to see a Katakuri if possible. Because if Cat drops down, then we're pretty good at popping the Kuzan after we swing in and then playing Augur off that, and then the finger pistol, the Katakuri. That'd be nice. Just to remove that there. And then Augur would then draw me another card if he decides to run into it. Mihawk. Okay, you can't do anything with that. Interesting. I guess we really don't have a choice here. We either... Because that's 9. Yeah, I couldn't kill it that way either. We couldn't augur it into a finger P. So we're going to have to play 10 cost T-Chair and lock it down. Because that's a free hit to our face next turn. I guess we'll just leave this up on board for now, because you can't do anything with the Kuzan. You can't Red Rocket or Gravity Blade, and Mihawk obviously was useless. So, I'll just lock it for now. Yes, we can attack. I get it. That's fine. What do I want to get rid of here? Doctor, I guess? Just because we have the 7-cost teach? Or we drop the search and leave the 2-cost for counter? Nah. We'll do it this way instead. Okay, so this has been his second turn, I think, since he's been past 8 Dawn. He decided to play Mihawk first, and he still can't get off effects this turn either. And next turn, surely we can deal with the Sanji. That's what he just picked up. And I believe OP6. That is the 9-cost Sanji. So let's see what he wants to do here. He has to go at least 12k if he wants to go for leader. So that means he needs to sack Dawn on Luffy and Mihawk if he wants to hit anything. Okay. I'll take the free block. No problem. Okay, non-dying left. Probably Sanji hits the board here, if I had to guess. So at this point, he just needs to put big bodies down. Because Mihawk can't attack, so he can't clear Teach. And there's no rush unit that he utilizes here in blue. Unless he's playing around with the 8-cost Luffy, right? But I think we would still be fine at that point. Okay. Not sure what you're doing there, bud. But GG, I guess? I don't know, man.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the end of the video in which today we played around with Blackbeard. Something we don't typically do here on the channel. I do hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was a very, very long video, so there's probably going to be a lot of editing in this one, unfortunately. But it be what it be. I do hope you guys had a good time. Blackbeard is going to be one of those leaders in which I think is going to be here to stay, especially with an effect such as his own. It's very, very strong, allowing you to have removal pieces on board, also that that keep reoccurring, which is really strong. The Kuzan, the Burgess. It's very difficult to take down this leader unless you are playing an aggro-centric deck, or a deck that can go wide and tall at the same time, like Bella Betty. But with that being said, as much as you may hate playing against this leader, you got to give it a try for yourself. This isn't one of those pick up and play and do well type decks. You have to know the matchups. It is going to be a trial and error. It's going to be a learning curve, and it definitely has a high skill ceiling to play this deck. It's not going to be just as simple as it looks type thing. But this is going to be my list that we played for like the first half of my games today, give or take, and then we played around with the other deck, and which utilizes the finger pistol. So pick and choose what you guys feel is better suited towards you. I like both the variants, but I also just feel like finger pistol is still very, very strong here, especially when you need to remove certain big bodies, and it only takes one auger on board to be able to do that, which is kind of nice. Now, if there are other options for me to be utilizing here in Blackbeard you didn't see in either one of these deck lists here, or you have thoughts and questions and opinions, please leave them down below, because we are all still learning the game. Give or take, I've been here since the beginning, but you know what I mean, man. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone sees lines differently when it comes to Blackbeard or Rob Lucci removal centric decks. Leave your thoughts and your opinions down in the comments below. This has been Pawseplays. Please don't forget to hit that like button so we get these videos floating around. I will catch you guys in the very next video. Stay safe out there. I'll see y'all later.